Change begins with the telling of untold stories, and we are gathered here today to tell ours. We tell the stories of our people, the poor and dispossessed, and we represent millions.
We share stories of the 6 million in the U.S. who are unhoused or precariously housed, the 24 million being cut from Medicaid, the 8 billion living on this earth impacted by climate change. Together, we embody the Nonviolent Medicaid Army, and we are part of the 140 million poor and low-income people in this country whose numbers are growing larger every day.
We gather here today in solidarity with thousands more around the nation in this week of action. We are all ages, colors, and genders. We are urban and rural, queer and straight, and we stand united across the lines they invented to divide us. Together, we raise our voices and yell that these Medicaid cutoffs equal death. Poverty equals death.
We are here not only to tell our plight and to fight, but to share the insight that we have, that we, the organized poor, have to offer in the transformation of an unjust society. We're here today to say that in the richest nation in the world, it doesn't have to be like this. We're here to tell our legislators and our congresspeople, stop listening to the lobbyists that serve Wall Street profiteers. Listen to us. Listen to the poor and dispossessed. We know the problems firsthand. We live them, and only we know how to fix them.
Poverty is the fourth leading cause of death in the U.S., and a huge cause of that poverty is the medical debt we get stuck with when insurance companies like Blue Cross and MVP decline to pay for the healthcare we need and deserve. That medical debt pushes us into precarious housing and often ends in homelessness. It's far past the time to say enough is enough. We must organize, organize, organize.
Today, we're going to fight. We're going to make this struggle a school to learn from and become stronger, and we are not going to stop. We, the organizing poor, are going to lift up our voices and carry this spirit of struggle. We're going to unsettle the system that kills us in the name of profits. And in its place, we are going to put people first. Because everyone's got a right to health care and housing, and everyone's got a right to live. Now we're going to say it. We say forward together, you say not one step back. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Many of you brought a quote, picture, or small object to represent the effect of this crisis on you or the people you care about. Take that out and hold it up now. If you didn't bring an object, grab a stone or flower from the bucket here to represent your story. When we reach the State House, we'll place this banner that says, "Everybody's got a right to live," on the ground, and place our quotes, pictures, and objects on it to unite our struggles and unite our humanity as we hear our final speakers.
Thank you. Well, I'm Carly. I'm a member of the Vermont Workers Center, and I'm really excited you're all here today. I'm going to be reading off my phone because I am not a public speaker, but I try. So thank you all for coming today to share stories and songs and to march for our right to health care and housing. I'm not eligible for Medicaid because I have health insurance through my work. They deduct $50 from every paycheck, and my plan has a $2,000 deductible before they cover any actual care. So I'm standing here to say that's not health care, that's an insurance scam. No one is going to listen to me, but they will listen to us. If enough of us speak out and demand real health care and not just exploitative insurance, we can make a difference, together. Today, we march to the Vermont Center for Independent Living to hear how our community has been impacted by the flooding. And we marched to the Green Mountain Care Board, where they gave Blue Cross and MVP 12% raises this year, while Vermonters' incomes remained stagnant and our rents skyrocketed. Then we marched to the Statehouse, where Governor Scott's administration is cutting thousands off from Medicaid, to hear more of our stories and to eat together as a community. We marched today because evictions and Medicaid cutoffs are a death sentence. Because healthcare is not effective when they discharge us back to buildings filled with mold and fire hazards, where cities provide water that we cannot drink, and the stress of knowing that our government chooses daily to put the profits of the ruling class over the lives of the working class. Together, we must see through the divisive focus of Democrat versus Republican, because this is not about left versus right. This is about all of us standing together as the working class fighting for our lives. Yes. So please find someone with a clipboard today so we can keep you involved and connected to the growing numbers of the 140 million poor and dispossessed in this country, because this march is just the beginning. Forward together!
Not one step back!
My name is Leah Duckett. I'm a part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army because Medicaid is the only... I'm a part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army because Medicaid is the only insurance I've ever been on. Now that the Medicaid cuts have begun, I will probably lose my coverage within a year.
And I'm Kate Kanelstein, and my family has struggled to afford health care my entire life. My partner and my kids are both on Medicaid, and we're part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. And as Leah begun today, change begins with the telling of untold stories. So mostly what we're going to do today is hear and share our stories, and hear and share our stories together. So I want to invite Andy and Beth, Andy from Norwich and Beth from Barre, to start us off.
Hi, everybody. This makes a lot louder. Okay. Thanks. Hi, everybody. It's a lot better. As I was introduced, my name's Andy. I moved to Vermont in July of 2020. Almost as soon as I arrived, I was enrolled in Medicaid. There was so much about that period of time that was filled with stress and uncertainty. I was balancing being a full-time graduate student with working at a grocery store, navigating my new home and the start of my gender transition, all in the context of a pandemic for which there was no vaccine nor treatment. However, I didn't have to worry about whether I could afford to go to the doctor. While I was on Medicaid, I could access the healthcare I needed without having to jump through the arbitrary hoops that insurance demands. This became particularly valuable when I needed to access gender-affirming surgery. I received a double mastectomy from an experienced provider without having to pay a single cent for my care. That's right. I could still hardly believe it. This is a procedure that costs at minimum $6,000 out of pocket, and which is not covered by most private insurances, much less Medicaid plans from other states. Knowing that Vermont supports gender-affirming care while other states are putting up barriers around it has made me proud to call myself a Vermonter. Having that care has not only allowed me to become a more active participant in my community, but it has quite literally saved my life. Unfortunately, that coverage has come to an end, and I, like so many others in our state, now find myself in a healthcare limbo, caught between the termination of my coverage and whatever comes next. While I am not making a substantial amount more than I was at the beginning of my coverage, I am now facing the prospect of having to pay for a plan with unaffordable copays at the same time that my federal student loans repayment begins. I'm sure a lot of us are in the same bucket. These two financial burdens, combined with the continually rising costs of basic needs, make planning for the future a bleak prospect. I mean this not just about my own future, but for all of us who are struggling to make ends meet. What makes this situation all the more bitter is knowing that it doesn't have to be this way. We can have Medicaid for all. Everybody could access the medicines and procedures that they need to live without sacrificing their dignity or their financial security. I don't need some special program to apply to address my own specific situation. What I need is for all Vermonters to receive the quality care I was given, with the respect I was given, without exception. What we need is for Vermont leaders to stand against the interests of Wall Street and to stand for the well-being of their constituents. Not one step back!
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Beth, and I'm doing a housing speech. I've been living in an apartment in Barre for the last 4 years. The electricity is so bad that stove and dryer plugs need to be tapped with a broom or a mop handle to turn them on. Then the flood hit and stopped right before the baseboard heater spent, and our whole basement was destroyed. We were supposed to be evacuated, but no one showed up, so we stayed confined to the second floor. Since the flood, we have been living in fear of losing our cats and losing what little we have left to the mold that is taken over, or worse than being evicted. So I go to meetings with the Vermont Worker Center to fight for our rights. We are Vermont strong, and together we can make our voices heard. We can fight the state affordable housing without mold and fire hazard places with no heat, but only if we do it together. Together we have the power. I do not.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Andy. You are not alone. Housing is a human right. Housing is a human right. Healthcare is a human right. Healthcare is a human right. Awesome. Are we ready to march? Okay. We are going to, in a moment, hear a song from Becca and Keith. So come on up here. And we are going to march from here, City Hall, over around the corner to the right to the offices of the Vermont Center for Independent Living, an amazing disability rights organization in our state. And we're going to use the sidewalk to get there for this time. When we march from VCIL to the Green Mountain Care Board, that's where we're going to go in the street, and the marshals in the yellow and orange vests are going to keep us safe. They're going to help us try to march in rows so that we can best coordinate ourselves and show our strength together. So when we get to VCIL, after we hear this, so Becca and Keith are going to sing, and as they start singing, they're going to teach us a song, and then we're going to start marching. And I need 4 people to come and pick up this "Everybody's Got a Right to Live" banner and bring it to the front of the march. And everyone should right now just come up and grab a sign, because we want to bring all these signs with us. So come on up, grab a sign, get ready.
The one that's up there?
Yeah, I need 4 people to grab the one back behind me and go right ahead to the front of the march over. Griffin, could you raise your hands up? All right, Griffin's got his hand up over by the tree, and if that's going to be the front of the march. So we need 2 more people. Awesome. We got 2 people right here. Go ahead. Thank you, everybody. All right. And I just want to give, while we're doing this, a big shout out to our ASL interpreters today. Thank you for being here. Let's give them some big love. So and I also want to let people know one more logistics. There is a bathroom and water, and there's going to be food on the Statehouse lawn. So if you need to scooch there early, obviously feel free, but we're going to make our way there together as well. When we get to VCIL, we're going to hear from some legit heroes in our communities. Folks have been for years organizing and being an important support to lift up the voices of those most impacted by injustice in our communities, but during the flood crises have totally taken on the additional load of helping our communities respond to that catastrophe. So we're going to hear from Sarah Launderville, the Executive Director of VCIL. We're going to hear from Shawn from Rainbow Bridge, and we're going to hear from a couple speakers, Megan Wayland and Jean Marie Pierce from Northeast Kingdom Organizing, who are going to lift up a story from their community. So let's give them some big love and appreciation. Thank you all for being here. All right. If you have a song sheet, find someone who doesn't so that we can all sing this together. We're going to be singing Let's Go Down Together by Jacob Butterly, a member of Put People First Pennsylvania and the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. And I'm going to teach you the chorus, and we're all going to sing it all together, the chorus and the verses. I lost my guitarist. It goes, let's go down and march together. Actually, repeat after me. Let's go down and march together.
Let's go down and march together.
Let's go down to do more and more.
Let's go down to do more and more.
Nobody there can ever stop us.
Nobody there can ever stop us.
Let's go down and march out as the poor.
Let's go down and march out as the poor.
And you'll get the melody.
Let's go down and march together. Let's go down to do more and more. Nobody there can ever stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor. Our families got to get together. Our families got to do more and more. Nobody there can ever stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor. Let's go down and march together. Let's go down to do more and more. Nobody there can ever stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor. As we walk down Jericho Highway, as we walk down side by side, we won't surrender one another to the bandits and the robbers on our side. Let's go down and march together. Let's go down to do more and more. Nobody there can ever stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor. We're gonna march through the valleys, gonna march on the highways too. And as we march along together, rolling back what is over me and you. Let's go down and march together. Let's go down to do more and more. Nobody there can ever stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor. When the road gets rough and rocky, and the hills get steep and high, we're gonna sing as we go marching, and we'll win our revolution by and by. All together! Let's go down and march together. Yeah! Let's go down to do more and more.
let's go down and march on as the
Forward together! Not one step back! Forward together! Not one step back! All right.
Lots of signs over there if anybody wants a sign.
We also need more people to carry the Medicaid shut-off equal policy murders together.
Yeah, for now.
Natalie, come line up. Set a good, yeah,
Set a good example.
Come by normal. Yeah.
Line up.
When we get down to the
Yeah, and so that there were people from Kairos Center in New York City, which is connected to this. New York State Poor People's Campaign is part of the National Nonviolent Medicaid Army. So, want to get involved? Yeah, there's a National Nonviolent Medicaid Army website, and so I'm gonna mix up the stones to my phone. But the Kairos Center is a great place to be. Sally Barnes does the policy analysis. Leo Harris is Sally Barnes is She's at Kairos Center. The other person at Kairos Center is their assistant.
Good afternoon.
We always hear Okay, we'll do.
Hey, thank you so much, Gary. Great to have you here.
Thanks so much, yeah.
We're going to go forward. Come back. All right, everyone, we're going down together. Let's go down and march together. Let's go down to do more and more. Nobody there can stop us. Let's go down and march out as the poor.
I just want this to be straight so it doesn't like float on or something. Oh, we might have to watch it. Yeah, we got I muted again.
It's like, yeah, but more like a part, an organizing partner. Yeah. That's another one. Making sure people are lining up. You've got it there. I know, yeah. That was a big
Not one step back! Not one step back! Not one step back!
Forward together!
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 Not one step back! Human rights! Human rights!
Human rights!
Human rights! Human rights! Human rights!
And then we're going to turn those maybe you stand right
Human rights! Human rights! Human rights! Human rights! Human rights!
Hi, Molly. Hi, how are you? Good. How's it going? Good.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Launderville. I'm the Executive Director of the Vermont Center for Independent Living. Thank you all for stopping here in front of UCIL today. A couple of months ago, our building was destroyed by the devastating flood that moved through Montpelier. So many will tell you, it's just like a building we can rebuild. I get that the bricks and mortar are just that, but for us, those bricks, this building, holds lifetimes of memories creating foundations. Friends, those memories are filled with so many of you. Human rights campaigns, put people first, healthcare is a human right. We've taken on these issues of dismantling our own pasts and building foundations to support one another more holistically right here in this building. And we've moved to solutions that benefit the greater good for human and environmental justice. Friends, today we stop here and honor a home that has allowed us a space to communicate, think, love, and grieve our world and our systems. So sure, we can rebuild, and we will. We will rebuild so that we can hold more memories, but more importantly, a space for us to drive home that while we are weary from this storm and the aftermaths, while we are exhausted from a pandemic that continues to forget about people with disabilities, while we are tired of fighting against systems that are built to keep people down, and we are going to turn that exhaustion, our tired and weary minds, to a collective push to say no more. No more will we allow these systems to push people aside, to allow for us to be killed and not say anything. Our healthcare system is broken. It's not accessible, and it's beyond not equitable.
full of discrimination. It's racist, homophobic, transphobic, and ableist. When we don't listen to the experiences of people, when we have to travel to get a wheelchair accessible care, when providers don't hire American Sign Language interpreters, when insurance doesn't cover technology needed, that people just can't afford to visit a doctor, that's beyond broken. In addition, we've been shouting for years that we need accessible, affordable, and integrated housing. The housing crisis only seems to become a crisis when middle-class people are affected for more than years prior, when people with disabilities can't get access to physically accessible homes, when bad policies continue to kick people out in the street and live homeless, when environmental impacts destroy people's homes. Friends, it's fitting that we find each other, ourselves together, even here when our building is broken. We find ourselves here yelling out that we need help from those who haven't joined us yet. It's not too much to expect the person needing accessible housing and personal attendant services has that need met. It's not too much to expect that people have a place to live. It's not too much to expect that people have access to food. It's not too much to expect access to dental care, vision services, non-traditional supports, and that we listen to the experience of people and push for change. It's one thing to speak truth to power, but today we're doing something harder. We're speaking truth to our community. The people who live next door to us, work alongside us, attend school with us, people struggling in silence, that we are here and we can support and will support one another. And it's not too much to expect that people hear these cries for help and work together to live in service and community to one another. I look forward to rebuilding one brick at a time and creating stronger memories that create a foundation for serious change. Thank you all for being here and for stopping here along this whole rally today, being part of a movement for change, and pausing and honoring a building that has allowed us to create these strong foundations and will help us thrive moving forward. Thank you.
One step forward.
Forward together. One step back.
Yeah, that one. All right, everybody. My name is Shawn. I'm with the Rainbow Bridge Community Center. Let's give a big shout out to Vermont Workers Center and all the partners that made this possible. This is important work. You know, growing up, we were taught we needed three things: food, water, and shelter. And yet everywhere we look, it's getting harder and harder to locate those resources. They've gotten so impossible to find that we've had to improvise a workaround, and that's community. We love community. Give it up for community. The power of community is that it is an effective engine of liberation. Little by little, person by person, love fuels community to expand and diversify in the direction of freedom. We must remove the obstacles to love that we see in our community, which means we must fight for equity in an equitous world. How? Privilege and power and wealth separate some of us from the pain that is an everyday reality for the people. How many of our representatives represent us? In our circle at the Rainbow Bridge, we have folks that already lived in the woods and lost everything they had in the flood. They re-upped and were flooded again. They re-upped and moved into temporary housing. They were forced to leave and lost again. Each time, the will to re-up wanes, and the hands of our leaders fill up with blood, sweat, and tears of our people. We have seen the remains of human habitation in our public spaces post-flood, as if we were anthropologists finding a people lost to time. Only these people were lost to our laws, our policies, behaviors, and investment practices. When was the last time our representatives felt the cold terror of finding shelter in spaces that were illegal for them to occupy, or a burning empty belly? It may come as some surprise to those in power that folks without homes have family, they have friends, they have connection, community, and routine. Folks without homes have their own normal, their own safety, their own comfort, their own security and joys, their own lives and loves and pets and precious somethings. We cannot allow a world that disowns people. We cannot stomach a world that thinks nothing of the tiny and delicate but deeply cherished comforts of our most vulnerable people. Just because someone is unhoused doesn't mean forcing them to move is not disruptive. Folks without homes have emotions and pain and a limit to their perseverance. And despite all of that, they can still laugh and sing and smoke and cry and grow and love and share. We cannot allow a world that disowns people. The state of Vermont has environmental refugees right now. It has people writhing under the oppressive thumb of poverty. It has families split apart and people clawing at their clothes and pulling out their hair and isolating and working 3 jobs and kids that know too much about the guts of walls and floors and basements and the panic caused by a dark cloud in the distance. We cannot allow a world that disowns people. Far too long have oppressed people and our issues been politicized. The deeply entrenched enemies before us, white supremacy, misogyny, blood-sucking capitalism, and all the people that profit in power or wealth from the anti-human monstrosities they call the law, or precedent, or justification for authority and maintenance of the status quo. They benefit from us and our issues being politicized. Politicizing people and our oppression shifts the arena from a material or a moral place to a virtual space where the humanity of any given subject is easily stripped away. Being oppressed is not political. Being trans is not political. Being poor is not political. That's just being people. That's us. We are so much more than the claustrophobic boxes poverty forces us into. But we must act now with the greatest fortitude to see our light find a home on this planet. Our star is much brighter than the hate. Our blood boils with the blood of our elders and screams out for freedom. Living must not be political. Living must not be illegal or impossible. Otherwise, we resign ourselves to a fate worse than death. Thank you.
She couldn't be here today because she had to work. She talks about what it's like to work 40 hours a week and still not get ahead. She's 66. Her mobile home flooded and then it burned, and now she's currently living with her mother.
This has to be towed away because there's nothing to repair. It's 80 to 90% gone. I didn't get the insurance that covered the appreciation of the home. The banks made out. The insurance company made out. They said, we got 14 low-income people into a home. But who was that really about? It was about them. I'm low income. I only get enough insurance to maybe haul this trailer away. Maybe I can rebuild from that equity on the land. I don't know. Rat-ass bastards comes to mind. I'm trying to be polite, but it's really hard now. You gotta find humor where you can, and I've had my share of practice. I was thinking about writing to Bernie Sanders or something, who might give an ear about all the inequalities we're coming across. I found things to be so unequal, and help isn't really help. Somebody needs to know. I've worked my 40 hours. We've all worked our 40 hours. The issue is that we don't get paid a living wage. That chokes everybody. We know economics. The thing is, as a single woman coming up through the world, we know men get better shakes. I'm 66 years old and have worked non-traditional jobs and have really seen the glass ceiling here. To get my own loan, I have to go at it and be responsible for it, and I got what I could barely afford. If you get someplace you can actually make the payment on and you still wonder, is it even worthy? I bought this old place and the first thing I found out was sitting on the ground. But I didn't know then until I realized how easy it was to get tricked. So I became educated in surveying and carpentry and drafting, and the list goes on. I'm a smart woman, and I didn't want to get cheated. You have to know what you're talking about to get a good voice. It's so easy to trick someone. All you have to do is admit. All you have to do is don't say. I can hear them now. You should have read the fine print. This many years later, after I paid for the damn thing.
Let's appreciate these heroic organizations in our community. Thank you so much. All right, so next Manny's going to lead us in another song, and as we sing, we'll march to the Green Mountain Care Board offices just past the State House. We're gonna march in lines of 3. We're gonna line up on the sidewalk when we start, and when we get to the light, we're gonna start marching in the street. It's, yeah. We're taking up space, and it's also unsafe to walk on the sidewalk there. So we really wanna be careful about marching in rows of 3, so we can protect everyone's safety.
And also just want to say, like, some parts of the street do have potholes, and we definitely have people with us who are in wheelchairs and walkers who can't easily get on and off of the curb. So that's also why we just want to make sure to kind of stay coordinated and stay together. So as Manny is starting to lead us in song, we can start to get lined up, like, as we're singing, so we can march singing. Are we ready for that? Be loud together? Cool, awesome. Manny, come on up wherever you are. All right, oh, Manny's gonna sing over there. Awesome.
Help me out on this one. It's not on your word sheet, but you can all pick it up. Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land where I'm bound? All have health care. All have health care in that land. All have health care in that land.
They'll get kind of lined up. Yeah.
Where I'm bound. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. Where I'm bound. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. Where I'm bound. NEKO, let's go. People over profits in that land. People over profits in that land. Over profits in that land where I'm bound. People over profits in that land. I'm going to that land. People over profits in that land where I'm bound. Enough for all. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land. Okay. Enough for all in that land where I'm bound.
For all in that land. Great bathroom. So if you guys want to scoot on in here and then head over there together, that sounds good.
You guys want to slow down just a tiny bit? Yeah, you can keep walking.
I'll be free in that land. I'll be free in that land. I'll be free in that land where I'm bound.
Don't you want to go?
Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you want to go to that land?
I'm not going to that land. Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? We'll all have health care. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound. We'll all have health care in that land. I'll have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound. No more poverty.
No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound. There's no more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land where I'm bound. People over profit in that land. I'm going to that land. People over profits in that land where I'm bound. Enough for all. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land where I'm bound. Enough for all in that land. I'm not going to that land. I'm all in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound. For all in that land. For all in that land. For all in that land where I'm bound. Not for all in that land. Not for all in that land. Not for all in that land where I'm bound. People over profits in that land. People over profits in that land. People over profits in that land where I'm bound. People over profits in that land. People over profits in that land. People over profits in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land where I'm bound. Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound. Poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound.
have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We're a land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. Where I'm bound. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land where I'm bound. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land. Enough for all in that land where I'm bound. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land where I'm bound. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land. People over profit in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land where I'm bound. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land. We'll all be free in that land where I'm bound. For all in that land. For all in that land. For all in that land where I'm bound. Don't you want to go? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you want to go to that land? I'm going to go to that land. Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? They'll all have health care. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land where I'm bound.
Jacob, here, close up. You don't want to be here.
Yeah, let's go real
Right here, people.
Almost to the left, but not that. Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you want to go to that land? I want to go to that land. Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound?
We'll all walk together. We'll all walk together in that land. We'll all walk together in that land. We'll all walk together to that land where we're bound. We'll all walk together to that land. We'll all walk together in that land. We'll all walk together in that land where I'm bound. Out in the right in that land. Out in the right in that land. Out in the right in that land where I'm bound. Out in the right in that land. Out in the right in that land. Out in the right in that land where I'm bound. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land. We'll all have health care in that land.
Let's try to slow it down again.
Yeah! Don't you want to go to that land? I'm going to go to that land. Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Go to that land. Yes, I want to go to that land. Yes, I want to go to that land where I'm bound. Yes, I want to go to that land. Yes, I want to go to that land. Yes, I want to go to that land where I'm bound. No more poverty. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land where I'm bound.
No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land. No more poverty in that land.
have joy in that land where I'm bound. We'll all have joy in that land. We'll all have joy in that land. We'll all have joy in that land where I'm bound. Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land where I'm bound? Once more, don't you want to go? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that Don't you want to go to that land? Don't you want to go to that land? Perfect. Okay. To that land where I'm bound. Woo!
Not one step back! Not one step back! Come on, gather around here.
All right, if you want to come in a little closer, we're going to have some more speakers. We're going to hear from Heather Bauman with UVMMC Support Staff United and Molly Charette from Fairfax.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Heather. I'm a phlebotomist at the medical center, and I am a proud member of the newest and one of the largest unions up at the hospital, the Support Staff United. After years of whispered conversations and months of organizing, last January we won our union. And then Thursday morning at 5:30, after a 12-hour bargaining session, we signed a tentative agreement for our first contract. It is a good contract. Wages in our bargaining unit right now start at about $15 an hour, but 30 days after ratification, they will be raised to a new minimum of $20 an hour. We won health and safety gains, ensuring that our colleagues in the emergency department will have protective gear, the gear they've been pleading for years. And we also got the hospital to agree that none of the over 2,000 folks in our union will see their jobs outsourced and find themselves laid off. It's a good contract. We made huge wins that will have a significant impact upon our members as soon as the contract is ratified. We're so proud of the work that we were able to do as a coalition of workers bargaining for the first time. We made our workplace better, we made it safer, but there's one major issue that the state's largest employer and the region's only level 1 trauma center was absolutely unwilling to address with us. And that, ironically, was healthcare. So at this point, I should probably reintroduce myself. I forgot a few key points. My name is Heather. I am a very proud mama of 2 amazing kiddos. I spend at least 40 hours a week working at the University of Vermont Medical Center as part of a team that cares for my community, and I'm on Medicaid. That is, except for last summer for a month when our family lost coverage due to a paperwork error. So because the wages at UVMMC are so low, many of the members of my union qualify for some sort of state subsidized care. And 99% of us qualify for the hospital's own financial assistance program. The raises we will receive in that first paycheck 30 days after ratification of the new contract will change people's lives. Fridges will be restocked, a bite will be taken out of a few menacing bills, and there will be sighs of relief exhaled as we start to see the worth of our contribution to the healthcare community that we serve being recognized. But because the hospital was unwilling to negotiate with us over any reform to their regressive health insurance benefit, there will be that familiar knot tightening in many of our stomachs as we reckon with the reality that this new wage will disqualify us from Medicaid and our children from Dr. Dinosaur. Because even with the raises, we still don't earn enough to afford the 20% contribution required from all employees who want to purchase the hospital's insurance. The hospital made no changes or concessions to protect the most vulnerable of their team when considering equitable access to care. Those of us who make the least continue to be required to make the same contribution as those who earn the most. My colleague, who will not be able to afford their child's insulin, testified before Dr. Leffler, the Board of Trustees, and management's bargaining team, and they had no response for her. They had nothing for my colleague who's worked for 23 years at the medical center, who is currently awaiting the results of a biopsy for an irregular mass taken from her son's knee. And they were unwilling to negotiate any change that would extend care to my child, who was born with Usher syndrome, which is the leading cause of deafblindness. We will all lose our Medicaid, and our children will lose their Dr. Dinosaur. And the hospital was absolutely unwilling to consider a way, any way, to save our families from falling off that cliff.
Horrible.
When the Green Mountain Care Board met in August to discuss UVMMC and the network's budget, 120 of my colleagues submitted statements asking for the Care Board to please keep an eye on our hospital administration. And we appealed to them not to offer any budgetary increases until the needs of our support staff were considered. We asked that they encourage the network to pump the brakes on their property acquisitions and their renovations, as well as on their insane executive salaries and bonuses, and instead focus on making the medical center a sustainable place for Vermonters to work, an employer that guarantees a livable wage, safe working conditions, and health care to all of its employees. At that meeting, the new CEO of the UVM Medical Network, Health Network, Suni Ipin, explained the reason that they needed such a substantial budgetary increase this year. And he said it was because, and I quote, offering the highest level of care to everyone who walks in the door is just expensive. It's disappointing, as well as it is clear, that the UVM Health Network has absolutely no intention of offering access to this top-notch care to those of us who walk in through the employee entrance.
Yes, bad.
UVMMC Support Staff United is committed to honing its power, to honing the power of our membership and working in solidarity with other unions, other community groups, and with all leaders to make sure that healthcare is understood to be a human right. We stand united with every member of this nonviolent army fighting to ensure that healthcare and housing are accessible to all. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Molly. I use she, her pronouns. I moved to Fairfax 2 years ago. I'm a clinical mental health counselor, a yoga teacher, type 1 diabetic, and 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
Healthcare has been a major theme in my life since being diagnosed with diabetes at 19. I, like many diabetics, have had to ration supplies, pay out of pocket for supplies, and generally live my life around the need for insurance. Insurance controls everything, and even though I'm on private insurance, most things are not covered. For about 2 years, my insulin pump was not covered, and although they kept saying, just, there is a workaround, your doctor has to write this, blah, 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 I was not able to get my insulin pump. It meant fighting the insurance, being told, again, by doctors, if it would be covered if we did this, and this. It was one of the most frustrating, dehumanizing, and costly things I've had to deal with my diabetes. I have also seen how Medicaid cuts have impacted friends and clients who are now paying huge amounts for health insurance and services. When I got involved with the Nonviolent Medicaid Army at the White River Junction Pride Festival, I knew I wanted to do more because I really believe in universal health care. I've seen how beneficial it is when I lived overseas, and they actually apologized for making me spend $17 on blood work. I was like, oh, I'm from America, that's cheap. And when my husband was in the Navy and healthcare was easy to navigate. When healthcare is easy to navigate and when things are covered, people's lives are improved drastically, and people with chronic illnesses feel dignity and respect. And that is why we need universal Medicaid. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather and Molly. And I am going to read the story from Erin Kellar, who couldn't be here today. My name is Erin Kellar, and I'm a newly licensed clinical mental health counselor in the state of Vermont. During the height of the pandemic, I was completing my graduate degree in mental health counseling while also working full-time as a case manager at the Howard Center Methadone Clinic. I quickly became burnt out during the summer of 2020 with all I had on my plate. The reason I felt able to transition out of my full-time job to take care of myself and focus on my studies was because I was able to enroll in Medicaid. I was not aware at the time, but being able to stay on Medicaid through the first year and a half of beginning my career both allowed me to pursue a position in a group practice that I love and saved me a significant amount of financial debt I would have had to pay after being admitted to the hospital in January 2022 when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Being insured while beginning my journey with this expensive, lifelong, chronic illness gifted me the privilege of learning how to care for my body's new and demanding needs, such that my health and well-being were able to thrive. I was feeling better, more alive and energized than I had in a few years. During this time, I was also able to build back my financial stability that I had depleted as I pursued my degree. As of July 1st, 2023, when I lost my Medicaid coverage, my health and financial stability have been threatened. Because of the nature of my illness and my history with autoimmune disorders, I'm paying for the best health insurance plan that Blue Cross Blue Shield Platinum. In the brief 2.5 months that I have been without Medicaid, 2.5 months without Medicaid, between the cost of my monthly premium and the co-pays for insulin and diabetes management supplies, I have paid a total of $1,905 in 2.5 months. This doesn't even include the co-pays for my endocrinologist visits, my therapy appointments, and my other thyroid medication. When it all adds up, my annual cost of basic health maintenance will end up being somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000, nearly a quarter of my annual income from last year. Additionally, the time I have spent in range with my blood sugar numbers has dropped from an average of 90% to 70% over the course of the summer, a drop of 20% only in 2.5 months. My employment, diet, stress management, exercise, and sleep routines have all remained the same and remained strong. What has changed? The crippling stress of every day choosing to either pay or die because a few days without insulin would kill me. Take it from a licensed clinical mental health counselor. This is not a self-care problem. The Vermont state government is failing their responsibility to keep Vermonters healthy, and I am the only one voice in a sea of many whose body is bearing the burden. Those are Erin's words. And I just have to say, we're here in front of the Green Mountain Care Board, which was created in 2011 after the passage of Act 48 in 2011 to implement a universal health care system for the state of Vermont, and has been regulating the insurance and hospital industries in the state, the healthcare industry in the state. Just after Erin lost her Medicaid in July, later that month, they passed a double-digit rate increase. They approved a double-digit rate increase for Blue Cross Blue Shield, which means in January, Erin's cost of healthcare is going to go up, as are all of us who are on those plans. That's right. So I'm going to pass it back to Leah. Thank you all for sharing your stories.
In a minute, Becca's going to teach us another song and we'll march to the State House steps. As we arrive at the State House, Eliza is going to lead us in singing Everybody's Got a Right to Live. Please join in where you can. As we're singing, we'll lay the banner on the ground at the front of our march. We'll place our quotes, pictures, and objects on top of the banner. This will unite our struggles and unite our humanity as we hear our final speakers. If you didn't bring an object, grab a stone or flower from the bucket, here to represent your story. We're going to try to make sure that we walk in rows of 2 this time, so 2 by 2. And for folks with mobility devices, if you want to be in the front of the march to help set the pace, you can try to do that. And we're heading back to the State House, if I didn't say that. Here's Becca.
Can I get the microphone real quick?
Folks with mobility scooters and folks with strollers to the front, please. I don't have a bullhorn. Oh my god, and I'm a little intimidated to use one. So I'm going to use the microphone and teach us the song, and then I'm just going to sing really loudly. Got it, Becca! Okay, we're going to be singing Rich Man's House. I'm going to read the line. We're going to sing it together. It goes, I went down to the rich man's house, and I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Who's ready? I went down to the rich man's house, and I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Under my feet. Let no system walk all over me. I went down to the Medicaid office. I took back what he stole from me. Took it back my dignity. Took back my dignity. Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Gonna let no system walk all over me. Went down to the landlord's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took it back my dignity. Took back my humanity, and now it's under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. I went down to the governor's house. Went down to the governor's house, and I took back what he stole from me. Took it back.
Took back my dignity.
Took it back.
back. Humanity, now it's under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Don't let no system walk all over me. I went down to the State House and I took back what he stole from me. Took it back my dignity. Took back my humanity. And now it's under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Where? Under my feet. No system walk all over me. That's it? I went down to the White House. I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Now it's under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Under my feet. Let no system walk all over me.
Went down to the jailhouse and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Now it's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Went down to the rich man's house and I took back what they stole from me. Took it back, my dignity. Took it back my humanity. And now it's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. I went down to the Capitol. Went down to the Capitol. And I went down to the Capitol and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. And now it's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. Would you like help getting up on the sidewalk? We'll do Everybody's Got a Right to Live. Anyone know that one? Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Happy we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live.
Just like some people yell like things. I feel like it's always like good job, y'all. I kind of bubbled to that part.
Are you too? I probably could have just grabbed right on here.
Oh, free ride though. Yeah.
Smells amazing.
No, that's fine. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to ask everybody to go ahead, and if you didn't bring something, we have a bucket of flowers and stones, and go ahead and place them on there.
Yeah, like
You know that.
okay. I have a brain injury, so like.
That's okay. I'm just trying to help.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good.
That's good, yeah. Oops, sorry. Is that good?
Yeah, just so there's a path between in case.
Okay.
You control that for me.
Everybody's got a right to live. If we work side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And as we march side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to health. Everybody's got a right to health. And as we march side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to breathe. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And as we march side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to housing. Everybody's got a right to housing, and as we march side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to housing. Everybody's got a right to live, to live. Everybody's got a right to love, to love. Everybody's got a right to breathe, to breathe. Everybody's got a right to health, to health. Everybody's got a right to learn, to learn. Everybody's got a right to play, to play. Everybody's got a right to joy, to joy. Everybody's got a right to live, to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And as we march side by side, we're fighting for our lives. Everybody's got a right to live.
Thank you, Eliza and Keith, and everybody who came up and added their story and symbol here in front of us. Please do, if you haven't already, continue to come up and grab something to put on the banners. Here we are at the Statehouse. And come on and gather close together as you feel comfortable. We're at the Statehouse, and we're here also in front of the governor's office, where decisions that affect all of our lives are made, heavily influenced by Wall Street, those who profit off of our need for a roof over our head and from our health. And so we're going to hear from a few last stories and speakers from our communities, and let's pour into them all of the love and strength that we have. First, I'm going to invite up Ronni Lidell from Burlington and Reverend Joan Javier-Duval, the minister at the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, and both part of the coordinating committee of the Vermont Poor People's Campaign. We're going to hear from Leslie Thorsen from Vermont Just Justice, Alice Goltz from Green Mountain Self Advocates, and then we're going to have a closing. So if I just said your name, come on up so you can feel each other's support while you're up here waiting to speak. And take your time. We're all here.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, good afternoon. Now can you hear me? My name is Ronni B. Lidell, and I live in Burlington. And first of all, I'm going to ask that we take a moment of silence to just appreciate this time and space that we are all sharing in honor of those who just didn't be able to make the struggle of the human existence. I have people that passed from overdoses again, and it's just really hard in Burlington right now. So I also want you guys to remember, like Winnie the Pooh said to Piglet, that you are all braver than you believe, and you are stronger than you seem, and you are smarter than you think. But most important, and this is very serious to me, even if we are apart, I am always with you, okay? So let's take a moment of silence, and let's remember that we're all here in solidarity in a beautiful day, and we all just met brand new friends. So take that moment. Okay, thank you. So let me tell you my story. In the fall of 2021, I had a heart attack in the middle of City Hall Park, where I'm known as like mom to everybody. I was having unstable housing. When I had to recover from my double bypass surgery, it was in Champlain Inn, which is a homeless shelter. The shower in my room had black mold, and then it stopped working. My other choice was to go down 16 steps to a basement that also had black mold and animal feces. It felt very unsafe. In January of 2023, my health in Champlain Inn became so bad that I was put in the hotel program at another hotel. There, I had to sit every week for up to 3 hours per phone call to make sure that I was going to have housing again for another week, and I was unsure if it was going to be in that same room or if I was going to have to pack up and move, and I'm fully disabled. During that time, I had to keep up with at least 3 weekly appointments. As bad as that program was for me, I knew that I was going to be able to get housing more quickly because I am a Pathways Housing First client. For all of those who have no resource and are back on the street because of the housing program ending, the hotel program ending, they'll have problems getting to the clinics or to mental health appointments or to care related to their addictions because it causes sores and they have to be seen by doctors often. That's putting a lot of stress on Safe Harbor, which is the only clinic that the homeless people have around there. So not only are they, but the other people that have to use Safe Harbor are having trouble getting just regular appointments. On top of that, when I finally got housed, I was considered unstably housed and denied help by the pain clinic. Who is considered stably housed? At any moment, you can be evicted. I don't understand the term stably housed. Having been in unstable housing, my information that I was on the wrong kind of Medicaid went to the wrong address, and I got cut off of services because I didn't get my mail. That meant I didn't qualify for my choices of care, which is my in-home caregiver service, nor was I able to go to my specialist appointments for my heart or my spine. And now I have bills for psychiatry, MRI, cardiac, and pharmacy, and I'm well over $2,000 in debt. I have a brain injury, and it's hours on the phone going back and trying to figure everything out. And they make you have to jump through so many hoops that you just want to give up. And it's the same thing with the hotel program. What if you can't get to the library because you're sick, like I was, and I didn't even have phone service, and I was housed? If you don't respond in the hotel program within 48 hours, you get kicked out of the program. The wait music, when you're on hold, is so mind-numbing. And then they give you these little breaks, like it seems like somebody's answering you, but they're not. Yes. And then you go back on hold, and then it sounds like somebody's going to be a human, but they're not. And that's 3 hours of your day that food stamp tells you you should be gainfully employed. And you're waiting a lot of times on phone service that is free Wi-Fi from the government, and it's not stable. At any moment it's going to drop out and you're going to lose that call, and you got to call again. That's 3 more hours you're going to wait online. This is seriously mind-numbing, and if you have a brain injury, it's even more mind-numbing. And it makes you not want to do it. And only those who can survive these hoops can get the quote-unquote benefits. Are these really benefits? I am blessed because I know resources. I am the person that other people go to. I have so much sympathy for other people who don't. Whether it's a language barrier, or they're new here, or they're simply overwhelmed and just trying to survive. We are 140 million poor people. We are people 1 emergency away from poverty. And if you are not the 140 million poor people, somebody you love is one of the 140 million poor people, and you are just a second away from being one of the 140 million poor people. My story may sound sad, but I am a survivor, and I love to fight for everybody else who can't. Everyone in my town knows me because I tell them, I love you even when you can't see me. And I want you guys to remember that. Y'all just all made a friend with me today. I'm a very proud member of the Poor People's Campaign. It's a national call for moral revival. I invite everyone to join in as well. It's a moral campaign
And I personally believe we can love our way out of poverty. And I also believe we need to join together and fight our way out of this. I believe in an army of love. Nice to meet y'all.
Thank you, Ronni, for sharing your story, and everyone else who shared your story today. I'm also a proud member of the Vermont Poor People's Campaign, and in hearing your stories, our stories, I really hear just the debilitating and destructive and dehumanizing nature of the systems that purportedly are there to care for us, to build up systems of care, and yet are the same systems that enact policy violence against our communities. And I also hear in our stories and see in our presence here together the power of organizing. Who believes in the power of organizing? So the Vermont Poor People's Campaign believes in the power of organizing alongside the Worker Center, the other co-sponsors of this March for Health and Housing, and we are committed to and excited to keep on organizing together. We are organizing here in the state of Vermont to continue to raise up the issues, the stories, the solutions that come out of our communities, and we are gearing up towards a major event here at the State House that is going to be coordinated with state capitals all over the country in February of 2024. Exact date to be determined, but mark that month as a month of massive action. We hope to get over 5,000 people here at the State House. So we need all of you and all your friends and all your neighbors to show up in February. Can you do that? Will you do that? All right. Well, we're so pleased to be here, and forward together.
Not one step back.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Alice Goltz. I'm from Green Mountain Self-Advocacy. I feel that there needs to be affordable housing here in the state of Vermont. As I am a school crossing guard, I see people sleep outside, and many of them are people with disabilities. I saw a guy sleeping on the corner of City Hall with his dog. People are outside holding signs, begging for money. There are no places where people without homes can go. It's sad. I don't understand. We are the richest country. We need to stop blaming people who have nowhere to go. I am glad to see all of us here today. Enough is enough. Today we can push the legislators to do more. Also, there is a need for better health care for all.
That's right.
It should not be based on income. All people with disabilities don't have enough money for food. They have to choose to buy food or medicine. Thank you. I look forward to working towards getting some resolution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is inspirational to see so many people turn out to support health care and housing for all. Health care is a human right, not a privilege. Thank you, Bernie Sanders, for saying that. Housing and health care go hand in hand. One cannot exist without the other. My name is Leslie Thorsen. I'm a member of the group Vermont Just Justice, and our mission statement endorses criminal legal reform and advocacy for our vulnerable prison population. On July 1st, the Vermont Department of Corrections signed a 3-year annual $33 million contract with the hedge fund private equity firm WellPath LLC. A company, boo, yes, a company with a history of limiting or denying health care so they can pocket as much of the $33 million a year into their hedge fund accounts. This at the expense of sick and all too often lately dying inmates in the Vermont Department of Corrections. I would like to shine a spotlight on one of the many incarcerated individuals being denied adequate health care. I will call him D.A. D.A. has been detained by the state of Vermont while he awaits his quote-unquote speedy trial. Unfortunately for D.A., he is classified as a type 1 diabetic, previously known as juvenile onset, and this is 5 to 10% of the diabetic population. His body makes no insulin, so he has to rely on timely meals, blood sugar checks, and most importantly, the timely injections of insulin. While he has been detained for 3 years, his blood sugars have been outrageously high and sometimes dangerously low. All the while, he sits in a cell, unable to manage his own care, as he has done since he was 16. His endocrinologist at Dartmouth-Hitchcock had recommended an insulin pump with a continuous glucose monitor. DA deserves to have what 28 VSA 801, written by our legislature, which states, the department shall provide health care for inmates in accordance with the prevailing medical standards. In spite of multiple grievances to previous for-profit health care providers, and in spite of these grievances directed to the Department of Corrections Commissioner, who is a lawyer, not a health care provider, he still sits in our prison with no insulin pump and blood sugars that honestly would have freaked out any real healthcare provider. You see, all referrals out of the Vermont Department of Corrections is paid for by the current healthcare provider. Any out-of-prison care reduces the bottom line for WellPath. This is inhumane. This is despicable. Thank you. To pursue a healthcare model that allows and facilitates intentional disregard for human suffering needs to end. Healthcare for profit needs to end. Thank you. In DA's world, this purposeful denial of an insulin pump has already damaged his eyes, kidneys, and lower limbs. I know this because his A1C is 8.1, a blood sugar measurement over time. A blood sugar measurement that means he has suffered failed care in the hands of a Vermont-financed for-profit healthcare company and DOC non-trained healthcare managers who complicitly deny his multiple grievances. And sadly, this is just one man and one story. Multiply this by the thousands in this country who suffer at the hands of for-profit healthcare. There is no place in our society for companies to profit off of another's health. Yes, they are robbing people of their future and costing the entire healthcare system millions and billions of dollars down the road. Prevention is the best medicine. It's the first thing I learned in nursing school. So, in the future, when the CEO of WellPath is sailing around the Greek islands in his private super yacht bought with money off the backs of vulnerable humans, I know he will not be thinking of DA, who at that same moment in time may be sitting in a dialysis chair on the organ donor list waiting for a kidney. All preventable by following the ancient medical ethos. First, do no harm. Stand up for people, not profit. Thank you. Thank you.
This march is part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army National Week of Action. Thank you. There's a narrative out there that some states are evicting people and cutting people off of Medicaid in a just, measured, and necessary way, while other states are taking it too far. We are saying that this is not about right or left. It's not about red state or blue state. Within the richest country in history, evictions and Medicaid cutoffs are policy murder wherever they happen, no matter what political party is in power.
That's right. That's right.
And that's why we're building a nonviolent Medicaid army and a movement of grassroots groups all across this state and country, because we only get what we're organized to take. Is that right? And we're bringing our demands here to those who have the power to meet them. Governor Scott in that building and the leaders of the legislature. We will be back here in January, on January 12th, with a rally for health and housing when the legislature is in session. Will you all be there? And then we'll be back at again with many times our numbers, as Reverend Joan said, in February with the Vermont Poor People's Campaign, with the Poor People's Campaign nationally around the country. And again and again and again, because we are fighting until we win. We are building the power of the poor and everyone impacted by these human rights crises. Also want to say that we are joining Migrant Justice in their month of action right now. And there are 2 more actions left that you can participate in. So if you want to stand with dairy farm workers this Thursday, September 28th, and Tuesday, October 3rd, both at 5:30 p.m. at Hannaford's on Shelburne Road in South Burlington. And I want to let everyone know, especially if you're a Montpelier resident, that there's a campaign for just cause eviction here in Montpelier. And if you haven't yet signed the petition to get that on the ballot, you can find Tom or someone else with one of those clipboards and do that. And if you're worried about getting cut off of Medicaid, or if you already have been or know someone who has, please talk to us, because we are organizing and we are fighting against these cutoffs. And we are here as a movement, united together, to say that when we organize, our power is stronger than the influence of Wall Street on the decisions that affect our lives.
Woo!
We want to give a big thanks to People's Kitchen. All of the organizations who are here today: AFT Vermont, Another Way Community Center, Education Justice Coalition of Vermont, Migrant Justice, Northeast Kingdom Organizing, People's Kitchen, again, Rights and Democracy, Rural Vermont, UE Local 255, Hunger Mountain Co-op, Vermont Center for Independent Living, Vermont Just Justice, Vermont Poor People's Campaign, and the Vermont Workers Center. We're building a movement together. In a moment, Tav will come up and lead us in singing Which Side Are You On? But first, I want to welcome Fareed up to speak about People's Kitchen. Once he's finished, please feel free to start grabbing food and stick around to help with cleanup if you can.
Hi, everybody. Healthcare is a human right.
And healthcare begins with nutritious food and decent housing. That's a very important part of healthcare. So I just want to announce that we have food being served right now. We have grilled chicken and grilled tofu version of it, fried rice. We have vegan chowder in coconut milk broth and salad with peanut sauce. So everything is gluten-free, everything is halal. Most of it is vegan except for the chicken. So everything is delicious. Everything is cooked with love. So thank you all for coming.
Go for it.
Sure. I promise this won't take very long because it's tough to follow Fareed announcing the food is ready. All right, so I'll bet a lot of people know this song, but we are singing this song tonight to the folks who work in that large building behind me, right? Because we've got the people here, and the people are struggling with our healthcare system, with our for-profit housing system, with our for-profit carceral system. And we need the people that we elect to choose which side they're on. So that's what this song is about. Sounds pretty in tune. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, people? Which side are you on? We're reaping all the profits that fill your head with lies. The healthcare profiteers don't care if we live or die. Which side are you on, people? Which side are you on? Affordable housing is a human right. Housing now is what we need. Go without a fight. Tell me, which side are you on, people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, people? Which side are you on? Patience over profits, we're fighting for our lives. Healthcare for all is what we need, and we're here to organize. Which side are you on, people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Don't stand for their eviction. The rent is too damn high. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are you on, people? Which side are you on?